Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are playing No Man's Sky. So, this is No Man's Sky. It's basically a space exploration game. There is a storyline, but it could use tweaking, to be honest. It really could. Basically, it's an infinite procedurally generated universe. It's very fun once you get used to it. So we are going to start a save here. And the save, let's have the save. By the way, I am using Xbox. So controls look different to you. That is because you'd be using PC. I'm using a controller. So normal mode, it's what you want to start out with if you're first getting into this game. Normal mode is what you can start out with. Relaxed, it's just like a nice relaxation type of thing. Very relaxing, very easy, very kind, very well countered. And it's nice and relaxing. Creative, basically like creative mode, basically it literally is explore freely, no costs. These are community expeditions. We'll hopefully get into more of that when the next one comes out. Custom is basically you create your own controls over the game, and survival is basically like that hardcore, hard mode. And then there's permadeath, which is for some reason not on the screen anymore, but permadeath is like Minecraft's hardcore. One die, it's over. So we're personally gonna start at normal mode. I just like normal mode aspects rather than starting on survival, so you guys will have the same costs and same stuff as me when you guys maybe get into this. So let's start in normal mode. Ignore the terrible graphics quality. But yeah, so this is actually like part of the real galaxy in the game. So all these stars, they're actual systems that you can explore, see the planets, scan the planets, and get neonites. And this is one of my favorite parts. This is the tutorial. You can always skip this if you've played before, but for your first time playing, you cannot skip this. In my case, I am going to keep it so that you guys can see this. As you can see, I'm using the cloud software, but yeah, so let's begin installation. Okay, so begin installation. You have to fully hold X. Yeah, and it also has all this stuff there, So basically, how this works, it will always spawn you on a hazardous planet to start with. It will always do this so you can learn the basics of the game. Basically, you have to get to your ship to leave the planet. Now, it is not very hard for me because I have done this before, but for someone who hasn't done it before, it will be difficult for you to do, because you won't know what to do, which is why this series is being created. It is technically a let's play, so it's not a tutorial, but for this little beginning part, there's no reason not to. Okay, so we got this guy. So you can get a variety of the random suits that load in. There's a red guy, there's a white guy, there's a gray guy. But as you can see, my radiation is very low. You'll see these materials that say ferrite dust. You need to gather these minerals. If you gather these minerals, it gives you stuff. But those plants, they give you carbon. We don't need carbon at this time. We need ferrite dust, because if you get this ferrite dust, you can eventually repair your... See how it overheated? You do not want to overheat. I'm not used to being this early on in the game anymore, so of course it overheated, but yeah, so you see toxic levels going down awfully fast, and you'll see there's an exosuit guidance alert, scanning materials, hazard protection is failing. And basically it's going to tell you to do that, and it's going to say scanner critically damaged, and then you go into your inventory here. So this is your technologies, and this is where all your tech is going to be. As you can see, my hazard protection is very low. So the multi-tool is where your scanner is. So you'll go all the way up at the top where it says there, and you'll go to multi-tool. So I gotta cut that brief because I am going to run out of stuff, but look at this. This is, honestly, this is like really lucky because you do not normally spawn right next to a sodium jackpot. So when you spawn next to these sodium jackpots, well, it's a sodium jackpot, which honestly I am really happy about because it means I do not have to search for sodium. Most of the time on your way to search your ship, it does purposely spawn in a storm, so it's not going to, like, you're going to have difficulties. But as you can see, 18%, fill it up. You will not have that much sodium to begin with. I was very lucky on that. But stuff like this, dihydrogen crystals, you want to gather these. And that is the distress signal that shows us our ship's location. So we want to just gather these minerals. So we eventually are going to need to gather those materials and stuff. But yeah, so these dihydrogen crystals are good to have. So all these stuff that say unidentified material analysis for the second material, you need an analysis visor, which comes later on. But basically the analysis visor, lag spike. Basically the analysis visor is a way to scan these minerals to get those extra resources. So I have about 50 dihydrogen. You are going to need this a lot because dihydrogen is a mineral that uses for launch thrusters, and that's how you go to space, and later on once you get a frigate, it is how you power your frigate. Now, I'll show you about ship classes and all that stuff later. There is a new patch update actually coming out that introduced supercharged slots, because if you are a long-time player, you'll know that we used to be able to have 6 technology upgrades. Now we only are allowed to have 3. And the game knows this and has decided to make a fix for it. By the way, be careful not to do that, because if you damage, you can damage your technology. And if you do, it is very difficult. Ooh, knowledge stones. Oh yeah, we're in the Gek system. So there are 3 different species: Korvax, Vy'keen, or Vy'keen, whatever you want to say, and the Gek. So these are knowledge stones, and they give you access to what the Gek know. Hey, 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 boy, boy, boy. The stone resonates, producing a sound that fills my mind. A vision begins to take shape. A small alien life form kneels before me. They are tired, beaten. Without meeting my gaze, they offer up their hand. Accept knowledge. The name Gek floats into my vision. Floating in strange vision, I experience the world of the alien tongues here in my brain. So, we now learned the Gek word for Gek. So, all these species speak different languages. You can't understand what they're saying unless you learn enough of the language. That's our ship. So this is the same ship. You don't get randomly generated starships. You all get the exact same starter ship. The Radiant Pillar. Of course, there are more starships you can get and all that. By the way, most of you probably won't know this, but this stuff is good to get. This stuff can give you stuff like nanites. These living slimes. Oh, well, trust me, you want to keep them. Later on, they are very useful. Voila, we received nanites. So there are currently 3 currencies in this game. The first currency is... Oh, by the way, this is good for ferret dust, so if you want that, get that. The first currency is unit size, the cheapest currency and the pretty much easiest currency. The second currency is nanites, which is the more expensive currency. It's how you get upgrades and stuff to upgrade your exosuit. Scenario iteration deleted. boundary, separation, failure, likely. Okay. But yeah, so that's basically what the thing. And Quicksilver, we'll get into that later once you unlock the Nexus, but for now, you don't really need that. Normally continue prepared. Broadcast received. Yeah, so the game continues in the novel. So here's our crash ship. Gradient pillar. Looks pretty nice, I gotta say. Could use some work, but yeah, looks pretty nice. Iterations, number of members, online, Atlas connection, intermittent, launch thrusters offline, pulse engine offline. But at least my ship seems to recognize me, the controls react to my touch, at least for my exosuit, I am not dead yet, and the ship is alive flying out to the stars. Connect exosuit. Logs unavailable. Substituting data. Exosuit connected. Suggestion, pilot should perform maintenance. Select desired path. Repair starship system. Self-guided repair protocols initiated. Pulse engine requires a harmonic seal and metal plating. So, we need to repair both. That's pure ferrite and 1 dihydrogen jelly. You see, we already need dihydrogen. So, for 40 dihydrogen, you can make a dihydrogen jelly and 1 metal plating. Of course, we need to make another metal plating eventually, but for now, we can give this dihydrogen jelly to our launch thrusters. Now those are repaired. And then we can give our metal plating to the thing. So the harmonic seal, you are going to need to get the harmonic seal from a part of this quest. Because currently, you are unable to craft it. That is all you can craft. Carbon nanotubes, I think you need those eventually. But I know for a fact, we're going to need more ferrite dust. Because that is when we do yada yada yada. We've unlocked the portable refiner, which requires 30 oxygen and all that. These oxygen plants provide you with oxygen. And these oxygen plants will give you the ability to create portable refiner. Of course, we need metal plating. The pure ferrite is also what we need. The carbon nanotubes we need to create as well, technically. But we are low on carbon, which requires you to mine up plants on the planet surface. So, like this plant here has carbon. You want to mine the plant until it's completely destroyed and it gives you a bunch of carbon to use. Voila, weapon charge depleted though. You see how it's dead now? We need to recharge it with some of our condensed carbon we got from those little containers. See, it's already useful. See, those big things here? They're plants. Down here is a cave. We don't really want to go into a cave. But you can see right here, an identified mineral. For some reason, it's unable to be used. That is because it requires the advanced mining laser, which is something you will unlock later on in the game. For now, you just mine these little rocks and get the ferrite dust design as it comes. For example, that is a plant. You need to find more ferrite dust. So, we'll look around. And this is not how it's going to normally be. Later on in the game, you can actually produce farms, freighters, get these weird animals as pets. And there are, to answer your questions, if you're thinking about it, there are planets that have no hazards. They're called paradise planets. Amazing. No hazards. Most of them don't have oxygen, so you have to refill your life support, but otherwise there are no hazards on the planet. Nice, gotta say. Boom, we can create metal plates. And that, we need to craft a second one, because we will need launch fuel for later on. Now we can craft a little buddy called a portable refiner. This it's not going to tell you to do yet. Because, well, it's not going to tell you to do that yet. Because you have to progress through the rest of the story. But that is what you will need later on. In here, it's going to be like diagnostic, self-guided functional, vital ingredients missing, request assistance with a harmonic seal, and it's going to search for that harmonic seal. The harmonic seal is not located here, obviously, but it's going to, this is going to broadcast a signal to locate a harmonic seal that has a planetary chart on it. Apparently, this isn't how I remember doing it, but normally we just locate it, but apparently there is a planetary chart now, and you just use that to chart the area, and it shows you, it'll probably pop up here somewhere. Oh, no it didn't. But there it is. That is the coordinates where we need to go to. You'll see it's a distance away. So that is why you'll need sodium a lot, because without that, you will not be able to get there. And trust me, you want to get there, because without that, you can't leave the planet. And then you literally can't progress the storyline. So, by the way, that little dash I'm doing, that gives me a whole bunch of distance. Not recommended unless you have good stuff, but I'm a good player, so. Ooh, pulps. Jade peas. That's new. Never gotten jade peas before. I've gotten the sweet roots, pulp things. But yeah, so you basically you click right bumper, which dashes. Ooh, I like these deuterium plants. There's the storm that it summons. That is why I don't like those things sometimes, because I'll forget. Oh, see that's cool. So it requires you to build a base computer later on. This is literally basically a rogue base computer that was from older times. Now I want to claim the base just so that I have the base, so that I can actually delete the base and take the computer. Because once I take the computer, I don't need to craft one, which requires chromatic metal. So now, if I go into the base, and I say delete base, continue, it will delete the base and unclaim the land. But then, I'm not sure if it does this with computers you find randomly, but it should give you the base computer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Oh, really? It doesn't? Oh, that's disappointing. Normally, I wish it would give you the base computers, because then I didn't need to craft it, but I guess it only does that after you're finished with the basic starter quest, which is this. Now, this progresses for a while. Personally, I want to skip the storyline, honestly. It's a very long and progressive storyline, and I personally don't like doing it, but I'm fine with doing it this time because it will show you guys how to play. Well, that is not how you get inside a building. By the way, these buildings do protect you from those storms, so if you're close enough, you don't need to use sodium like I didn't. This archive right there, it should be one of the two buildings you find. This is a little guy, and then you will cover your supplies, and it will spit out a harmonic seal. Voila, how nice is that? But you also see something like here, check stock transfer. You want to do that because now I have units, 1,000 units to my name. And by the way, you can edit your character, just so you know, so don't be that upset about it. You are able to change your skin. I recommend checking the other building because it either has a universal language database like this guy does, Or it will have a little thing on the side of the wall that is nanites in it, and that gives you nanites. These damaged machineries, most likely to give you a nanite, or if you're very lucky, you could get a upgrade. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good one, but you'll get an upgrade. So we got 30 nanites from it. That's 60 nanites. That's enough to purchase us an upgrade to help with our systems. By the way, I didn't tell you about this, but those two bars, there's life support and there's other bars. There we go. Look, use analysis visor to locate starship. Requires installation carbon nanotubes. See? You needed those nanotubes now, didn't you? So we do that, and then we pop in here, we can create these, and this you can put in your analysis visor. Voila! Analysis visor installed. So, for example, you see this now? Now I can scan it. Now, this not only gives me ferrite dust, it gives me sodium, as well as it gives you units for when you scan things. So remember to scan them, because as well as not just that, once you're done scanning these, you can upload them to the network and get over 400 nanites. Now, right now that is a lot, because if you get over 480 nanites, maybe even 500 nanites if you're lucky enough, you can get S-class upgrades, and these S-class upgrades are extremely valuable, especially if you start using a glitch, which just costs you to create multiple portable refiners, and it will allow you to duplicate it. Now, this glitch has been in the system for over 4 years, so do not think that it is not been probably looked at. And the glitch is unfixable technically, because it is how they allow you to pick stuff up is by proximities. And what is the issue with that is if you put the refiners close enough together, it can cause the proximities to overlap enough to where the game thinks you're picking it up, you put it in 2 sections. There's a specific way to do it, otherwise it doesn't work, but that glitch, trust me, has been looked at, and trust me, it's not been fixed yet. Now, of course, if you don't want to glitch, I totally respect you, but the grind to get money in this game is extreme. So, unless you have the ability or time to grind for that distance for long of time, I do not recommend it. Now, this is a good game, and it's a good thing, so my plan is to at least scan enough things on this planet to get at least a couple hundred nanites, because I think I can get that in this, because there's enough on this planet that is diverse for me to get that, and I have enough sodium to just like kind of hang. See right there, I can scan that. Especially if you can scan, there will be little red dots sometimes. If you can scan one of those, they give you plenty of nanites and plenty of stuff. They are animals, and those animals are worth a lot more nanites. They are worth like 2,000 nanites compared to the 500s and stuff we've been getting from plants. By the way, I'm pretty sure, alright. Well, hazardous flora and sodium plants and stuff are actually useful on this planet. See? Repair pulse engine. Pulse engine critically damaged. Now you'll see this wants us to repair it by making 50 pure ferrite. We can do that because we already... Hang on. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Sorry, that was a weird pop-up. You probably didn't see it, but I did. Refining substances, it's telling us about that now. Here's our little portable refiner. So, we have a little fuel inverter. Let's get some carbons. 49%. By the way, it does give you a carbon back when you destroy it, so do not worry. This is a 1-to-1 thing. If you want to change it right here, you can bring it down. I'm going to bring it only down to 50 because we need exactly that amount, and we personally won't need more than 50 pure ferrite at this point. It will take a while for you to start needing a lot of pure ferrite. That is when you start building your actual base. The base computer is part of that. The next part of this, I'm pretty sure, is the base computer after you take off from the planet. Also, personally, I prefer to have third-person views for my starship. Now, where it's put isn't exactly the best position, but place that, and you'll see now it's on fire. And since we do have 50%, I don't need to technically change it out. I am very annoyed when it does this, where it puts your weapons and stuff so far apart. Let's get our materials in here. By the way, if you want to move these, you just click X to move them. And if you want to store them, which is actually a brand new feature, you just hold Y and it will store it for you. Like this. That didn't used to be a thing. You used to have to completely dismantle it. But I'm liking that store thing now. But yeah, so this titanium will power our pulse engine, as you'll see. And now, you'll see, we can take off. And now we are in the planet's atmosphere. To go into space, just move your joystick or your mouse to go up. If you want, you can press B to boost. Voila! We are now in the system. 4 planets, 2 moons. Get high tech. Comfortable. The conflict level is very high though, which is something you don't want in the system. You'll see, test flight controls with thrust, hold RT. Don't know how long it's going to take, but there we go. Test with boost with B, boom, boosting, and then test pulse engine. So I'm going to test the pulse engine going towards the space station on board the system. That is a moon, as you can see. That is a planet. This is the planet I think we just left, which is acidic and is fungal mode copper, ammonia, and sodium. So I can't see the space station, which is awfully weird. Boom, all systems achieved. Let's find the space station. Oh. Incoming transmission, source, unknown. Please identify yourself. I am identifying. You are not alone. Follow the being. Progress ends strangely as it began. The final piece of the coordinates appears to be a set of planetary coordinates. So I'm not sure why. I think this system is occupied. So for some reason I can't see the space station, which is awfully weird. But this is an abandoned planet. Ooh, look. It pulled up a tritium-rich asteroid. That is part of the new system of this game. There are new asteroids, and if you destroy them, they can be rich in tritium. Or they can have something else in them that makes them unique. That is what's really cool about this game, is that you can have stuff like that. Let's see. Let's locate. It is all the way over here at this abandoned planet. You see how it has salvageable scrap? That is what we're looking for. And as you can see, this is our pulse engine. You're flying. Now, while we're on our way here, you see how this is a C class. That is the lowest class you can have of a ship. Here are its potentials. Maneuverability, damage, shield, hyperdrive. Hyperdrives we don't even have yet, so you don't have to worry about that. But this is the class. This is the overall specs of it. The higher the class, the higher the potential. A classes are higher than C classes. B classes aren't as high as A classes, but are higher than C classes. S classes are the highest class you can have, and they're the most powerful of them all. And all exotics and living ships, which we'll get into later, are S classes. Solar ship is also something. I really want to get a solar ship, but personally, it's probably not going to be anytime soon because those things are dang expensive, and I don't have anything like Starship AI values, which are god dang easy to get millions of off of. So now we're on this new planet, which we can land on. Hey, nice. Okay. So normally I would head to the space station, but for some reason this game is being weird enough. Cactus flesh. This stuff is good to make polyfibers. So we're gonna get this so that we can craft cactus flesh later on. And, like, farm it for resources because cactus flesh is really good to have. How much do I have? 87. I think 100's as much as you need. So let's get up there. Okay, good. That's enough. But now you'll see we're on a different planet, and it now requires... We're now in need of cold protection. Also, you'll notice my life support here is quite low. We use oxygen to heal that, by the way. So, there's also a way to use dihydrogen, jelly, and metal plating to heal it. So, keep that in mind. Whoa. Look, new distance 218 U's. That is your locator. It helps you find things when it's like an approximate location. Using the T's, you can switch it in and out. Look at that. Isn't this amazing? Bet you it is. Look at that. We can get all of these rocks and resources, all of it scanned. And that's all you have to... Oh, there's an example right here. When I scanned this, it is an animal and gave me over 3,000 units. Now, you can do this on any planet pretty easily and you'll get plenty of nanites. You'll notice I still don't have any in my inventory, but that's because you have to upload them first. I'll show you how to do that once we reach a station because you don't want to do this on a planet. Because it's really not worth it if you're scanning still. Oh! First note of hazardous flora. That stuff can give you oxygen. Hazardous flora gives you oxygen. You can also, if you're lucky enough, you can scan it and it gives you oxygen. Just depends on how lucky you are. You'll now notice it's 99 U's. You can see the little camp here. I'm pretty sure this gives you access to like a freighter crash site where you get hyperdrive, but you'll see there's damaged machinery. Over here, there's this little tower. This is a save and chart thing. It gives you navigational data. That is much more useful later on in the game. First, this saves and charts the planet. It gives you data, it gives you navigational data, you'll see. Navigational data, and it gives you nanites. Not very much, but it gives you nanites. Decipher signal, decoding, no fuel, failed to reach station, terrain manipulator, and base computer. That is what we found earlier, and that is helpful for later on to mine copper. Now, we want to install both of these. We don't have the resources, obviously, to install them both. Actually, yeah, maybe we do. You know what, maybe I'm that good of a resource gatherer. Dang it. We're only a tiny bit off. On abandoned planets, there are not much plant life. So, do not think there will be a lot, because there normally isn't on these planets. There is not much plant life to be found. But what you can do is you can actually bring up a portable refiner if you have one. You can fuel it with just a tiny amount of carbon. So let's split this all the way down to 3. In fact, you don't even have to do that. It gives you your carbon back, but it only gives you carbon back. If you put condensed carbon in it, it doesn't give you condensed carbon back, it gives you carbon. It decompresses your carbon. So what we do is we'll put 10 in here, And then we'll grind it down. Voila, 38 carbon. Now we have enough to make this carbon nanotubes. Voila, now we can make our little terrain manipulator. But we need 2. Oh no, we need more. Well, we'll do this again. We'll put out our refiner. Because you don't know fuel is used up, so we'll just have to put the rest of our condensed carbon. Gives 34%. It should give us 34 carbon back. Now we have 2 of them. By the way, that stuff does stack. You'll see it had 2 of 20. And then you just quickly put that in. Voila, terrain manipulator installed. By the way, everything pretty much has a class. So any upgrade you have will have class. Your starship will have a class. Even your multi-tool has a class. It's a C class. Everything you get is a C class. But you'll also see stuff like that. Now, that stuff is called buried technology. This is extremely useful for later on. This helps you unlock blueprints. Now, hear me when I say that. It helps you unlock blueprints. And that is a very good thing. By the way, you have to be within your scanner range to scan animals. Because it's annoying sometimes, but it works. Like now, you'll see I'm over 10,000 units. Because of that. That little plant is part of my thing. That is something I haven't scanned. You'll see it's nice to have a scanner because you can scan everything on the planet and get a whole bunch of stuff. But you'll also notice that the game says to gather copper. So these little things here are called deposits and they use terrain manipulation. There's one closer. There's one 300 U's. Just 300 U's? Okay, so 300 U's is the closest, so we're going to get that. Okay. But that is literally what you do. Oh, and you'll see on this abandoned planet during the day, there is no hazard. You see how there's no hazard protection going down? Only life support? That means that during the day, you don't have to worry about that. It is when this planet goes to the dark time, you have to worry about your hazard protection. That is very nice on some planets. The Paradise planets, you don't have to worry about it at all. So that makes it even nicer. Most planets, though, have storms. So do Paradise planets. That's the only thing that would harm you on a Paradise planet. There. So this is what you should see when you're looking for your deposits. So we'll grab the resources. By the way, shrink this down. The smaller it is, it does take longer, but it gives you more copper for your bucks. So you wouldn't have to go to more than one deposit. You'll see I'm getting a lot more for what I'm mining. I'm already up to 104. I didn't get that all from mining the big one. I got that from the small one. So remember, just use the small version because it is a lot more pain for your buck. I did not know this until like a month ago because I just got so annoyed with grinding resources like indium, which is a lot expensive. Sorry for the lag, it's honestly not my best part of this. So 200 copper, that is plenty for chromatic metal, which is what you need. It wants you to build your base computer, but personally, I don't want to build it on a planet like this. I really don't. I don't think that's a frigate, by the way. Frigate. Yay. There's my starship. There it is. So, personally, your frigate... Yeah, so don't get a frigate. Please don't. Just really don't. See, your frigate... Yeah, don't. Frigates are hard to get at this point. They cost millions of units, and I only have 17 mini thousands, and that's not very good. See, my launch goes down 25%. That means that every time you launch, you take 25%. So keep that in mind when you join a planet, because some planets don't have that hydrogen. And if you land on that planet, you can't get off. unless you spend the time getting the resources to build a base teleport module. Which even then sometimes you won't have the resources for, and you'll have to do all this over again. So just remember that when you join your planet. Every planet will have at least 10 deposits of that hydrogen, but that's sometimes only small ones. And they're very far apart, and you might not survive that long on the planet. So keep that in mind. By the way, whenever you want to save your game, just enter and exit your ship. It is much easier than waiting the entire process, okay? So let's, by the way, this is your little summon menu. You can use this to turn on torch, toggle camera view, swap your multi-tools, which you can't just yet. If you have pets, you can do that. Those are gestures. This is to recharge your equipment real fast. Most of you won't know that because it tells you to do it the long way. This is how you summon your vehicles. If they have launch fuel, you can summon them to wherever you are. Tip that I know for a long time. So, of course, we are going to put our portable refiner down. And then we are going to refine the stuff. But of course, I am not going to build my computer here. That is just a terrible idea. So we are going to refine half this metal, because I want some of the copper to be left over, because you can sell this. So you'll see how it says 2-to-1 ratio. You'll see how the primitive metal has multiple colors, and you see one's coppery. Well, one of them's copper, one's cadmium, one's emerald, and one's indium. Now, all of these have things. For example, regular copper is 2-to-1, cadmium is 1-to-1, emerald is 1-to-2 ratio, and indium is 1-to-3. They all have activated versions too, which is 1-to-1 for copper, 1-to-2 for cadmium, 1-to-3 for emerald, and 1-to-4 for indium. So, yeah. So, by the way, you do not always have to follow the storyline. It's not going to restrict you. I am going to go to the space. If it does, this is an old update, you didn't have to do this, but I guess you do. So I just wasted my last bit of launch fuel. That means that I can't launch off the planet. You'll notice this when you end up running out if you don't replace it. How I made my launch fuel in the beginning was using dihydrogen jelly and a piece of metal plating. You can get metal plating from any ferrite dust, and dihydrogen jelly is 40. Or you can actually use a portable refiner to get it for 10 less. If your game does this to you, just create the base. It will let you have the base computer back though. So when you create your base, it might say build structures. Oh, you see that? That's a trading outpost. Those are really good to have on the system. So, if you saw that, we are going to delete our base computer real fast. Access from previous user, log follows, supplies low, extract plans. That just gave us all of our basic building blueprints. Now, you'll see it's going to tell you to build stuff. I'm going to actually delete my base. Don't do this unless you have the resources, because sometimes it might just not give you your base computer. You see that trading outpost? Right there. The trading outpost that's there, that is where you want to build your base at this time, in the beginning. Because first they have hazard protection. Huh. Seriously not giving me my base computer back? Wow, that's really rude. Well, I have more stuff. You see how it says not enough fuel and launch thrusters? What you're going to do is you're going to charge it, and you are going to charge it with this launch thrill. That will fully charge it. That's why I didn't use it earlier. Now, you can launch. We are going to take a trip to this trade post, because guess what? These things are great, especially when you land, because first, you don't use any launch fuel when taking off from a trade post. You can build base computers and build your base at the trade post. And you can get other ships at a trade post. Those things cost a lot of money, but you can get them. For example, my base, my thing is only worth like, what, 500,000 units? If I make an offer on this Lifeform Starship, it's a B class. You'll see negotiate the price. 9,000,000 3 million. If I exchange, I can get it for 6 million units. This has everything my thing has, except for a hyperdrive. You most likely will not get ships with a hyperdrive if you yourself do not have a hyperdrive, because that would be skipping parts of the tutorial, which the game does not want you to do. Something like this, which is also C-class, is worth just only a couple 100,000 units more. You'll see there are tons of ships like this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe. This is going to be a series, I have decided that, and today, I think we did a good job. We've started the first tutorial, we're all the way to the base computer section, and I think that is a job well done. I hope to see you guys next time. See you later.